Nearly 30. That's how many different colorways of one single LeBron model he wore in one single season. The Nike LeBron 10, the 2012-13 season, close to 30 pairs, and the great majority of them were player exclusives. Shoes that never reached a shelf. Shoes nobody outside his locker room could buy. That's not a rare event in this line. That's the business model. LeBron James has the longest-running signature series in NBA history and a shoe deal that has been reported in the billions. And the shoes he actually plays in are, most nights, not the shoes you can buy. Here's the part that breaks people's brains. Even when Nike sells you the pair he wore in a finals game, the same colorway, the same name on the box, the version that arrives is not the version that was on his feet. The one everyone gets wrong. Nike LeBron 9, PS Elite Finals MVP 2012. Start with the one that looks like an exception and isn't. But first, understand how early this started. LeBron's first signature shoe, the Air Zoom generation in 2003, didn't even carry his name. It was designed around his Hummer H2 and released to a public that had never seen him play an NBA game. By his second model, the Nike LeBron 2, the pattern was already set. It released in only 5 retail colorways and became known for something else entirely: the player exclusives. Even in year 2, the interesting shoes were the ones you couldn't get. Now the one everybody thinks they own. In 2012, LeBron James won his first championship and his first finals MVP. Nike did what brands do with a moment like that. They built a commemorative release, the championship and MVP pack, the exact shoe from the exact night sold to the public. Except it wasn't. Put the retail pair beside his, and the differences are specific. His pair carried a different MVP plate on the heel, and underneath, LeBron's version ran a red carbon fiber plate. The pair Nike sold shipped with a standard black one. Same name, same story on the box, different shoe. That's the pattern that runs through this entire line, and it's why this video exists. Nike didn't hide it. People who follow this closely have been documenting player-exclusive versus retail differences for over a decade. But the average buyer holding the commemorative pair believes they're holding what he played in. They're holding the closest available approximation. Nike LeBron 10, 2012. And the scale of it is genuinely hard to process. In the 2012-13 season, LeBron wore nearly 30 different colorways of the LeBron 10. One model, one season, 30 looks, Heat home versions, Heat away versions, a gold championship pair for the ring ceremony, all-star makeups, one-offs for single games. The great majority were player exclusives. He wasn't picking from a wall like the rest of us. He had a rotation deeper than most people's entire collections, built for him, matched to specific uniforms and specific nights, and almost none of it was for sale. Now multiply that across 23 signature models and a career that's still going. There is a parallel LeBron catalog, enormous, documented, photographed, that exists only in game footage and collector vaults. And it isn't only colorways. PEs get built to the athlete's actual foot. Fit modifications, materials chosen for one man's stride, structural changes the retail version never receives. The differences are the entire point of making them. If you're buying, this changes how you should read the market. A LeBron retail pair is not scarce. The line produces enormous volume, which is why prices stay reasonable and why LeBrons are one of the best value per dollar performance shoes in basketball. What's scarce are the PEs, and those don't trade like sneakers. They trade like memorabilia with provenance questions attached. Decide which market you're actually in before you spend. The true ghost, the school pairs. Now the strangest wing of the catalog, because these weren't made for LeBron at all. Since early in his career, Nike has built LeBron player exclusives for high schools and colleges connected to him. St. Vincent, St. Mary and Akron, his own alma mater, green and gold pairs for teenagers in Ohio, multiple versions per season, per school, year after year, 3 different Ohio State makeups of a single model, 3 Kentuckys, 2 Michigans, on, to the point where collectors who track this stuff full-time openly admit they can't keep count. Shoes with LeBron's name on them, produced in tiny numbers, handed to 17-year-olds. Read that again. Some of the most coveted sneakers in the entire LeBron line were made for high school kids, and there is no amount of money that would have gotten you a pair on release day. Not scarcity by price, scarcity by roster. Nike Air Zoom Generation SVSM. 2018. The one everybody wanted. St. Vincent St. Mary is the school LeBron actually attended. And because he never played college basketball, that high school is the closest thing his story has to an alma mater. The green and gold colorway has been part of the line since the early days, and it took 14 years to reach the public. The SVSM colorway finally got a retail release in 2018, during the retro run of the Air Zoom generation. 14 years after people first saw it on feet that weren't theirs. If you're chasing anything from this act, the SVSM Retro is the only realistic entry, and it's genuinely worth owning. Everything else here moves through collector channels with provenance paperwork, in sizes that fit teenagers, at prices set by people who understand exactly what they have. The escape, the ones that got out. Here's where it gets interesting because a few of these escaped, and the way they escaped tells you how the whole system works. To see it properly, you have to know what LeBron was from day one. Reebok offered him around $10 million while he was still in high school. He turned it down and signed with Nike for roughly 90. Before he had played a single professional minute, he was the most valuable endorsement in basketball. And in 2016, he signed a lifetime deal reported to be worth upwards of $1 billion, which meant that from the very beginning, everything about his footwear was built at a scale nobody else operated at. The window that changed everything was 2009 to 2012. Those years produced the exclusive colorways now credited with starting the modern obsession with ultra-rare basketball shoes. Nike LeBron 8 MVP, black and red, with an MVP logo on the heel counter, built to commemorate an award. Never made available to the public in any form. It is routinely listed as the most expensive LeBron sneaker in existence. Nike LeBron 9, Watch the Throne. And this one is the best story in the entire line. In 2011, during the Miami stop of the Watch the Throne tour, LeBron met up with Jay-Z and Kanye West, the three of them close at the time, and gifted the pair of them black and gold LeBron 9s with a solid gold lace jewel designed by the jeweler Gabriel Urist. 3 men, 3 pairs. That's the production run. It resold for 5 figures at a time when that was almost unheard of for a basketball shoe. And it took more than 10 years to reach a store, the retail version finally arriving in 2022, into a world where the album's 2 artists were no longer speaking and the cultural moment that made the shoe had long since closed. These weren't marketing exercises. They were genuinely private objects that leaked into public awareness, photographed, argued about on forums, hunted for years. And in doing that, they taught an entire generation of sneaker fans to want the thing they explicitly could not have. That's the machine this video is describing, not a flaw in how the LeBron line is sold, the engine of it. Because look at what happens next. Once a PE becomes legendary enough, Nike releases a version. The SVSM came out 14 years later. Archive colorways return as general releases. The Big Bang from the 2012 All-Star Game came back as a LeBron 23 player, exclusive more than a decade after the original. But it doesn't always happen. In 2018, Nike ran a program called LeBron Watch, a series of LeBron 15-player exclusives. One of them was the South Beach, a callback to his Miami years and to the teal and pink LeBron 8 that had become one of the most influential colorways in modern sneaker history. He debuted it in March 2018. Unlike the other pairs in that campaign, it was never released to the public. A shoe in a program about telling his story, from the era people most wanted. So notice the direction. The private version always comes first. The public version comes later if it comes at all. And it always differs. Different plate, different materials, different details. The retail pair is not the shoe. It's the announcement that the shoe existed. If you're buying from this era, know that it's the most counterfeited stretch of the entire line, precisely because those years created the demand. A genuine 2009 to 2012 LeBron PE moves with documentation. Who had it, where it came from, how it left the building. A pair being offered easily in your size at a price that feels achievable is almost certainly not what it claims to be. In this corner of the market, convenience is the warning sign. Hold on to that. It's the ending of this video. The forever list. Nike LeBron 23. 2025. Because the newest chapter of this line is the clearest version of everything so far. The LeBron 23 launched globally in October 2025 at $210. A full-length Zoom X drop-in midsole, the first in the line's history, under a crown containment system that works his crown logo into the upper as structural reinforcement. Genuinely serious footwear. 23 colorways, each tied to a specific moment from his 23-year career. The Uncharted Gold pair for 40,000 points. Miami twice for the back-to-back titles. A pair inspired by the Air Zoom generation he wore in his NBA debut. The Chosen One for the Sports Illustrated cover. One built around an iconic photograph of him and Dwyane Wade. One for carrying the flag for Team USA at the 2024 Olympics. Nike even ran an archive activation in Shanghai, displaying artifacts alongside the shoes. This is a museum of a career you can put on your feet. 23 shoes about his life, sold to the public. The most meaningful colorways of that model are the ones you can't have. The 15,838 pair. On March 5, 2026, in Denver, a 41-year-old LeBron James hit a turnaround fadeaway over Zeke Naji with 12 seconds left in the first quarter. It was the 15,838th field goal of his career, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most made baskets in the history of the NBA. A LeBron 23 in shimmering purple and gold, shifting through pink and orange and bronze depending on the light, with the figure embroidered on the heel. Most people read it as a nod to the fact that if you count playoff baskets, he'd already held the title for years. A shoe made for one bucket on one night that had to be finished before anyone knew the bucket would fall. Unlikely to ever release. The Big Bang PE. An orange gradient homage to his 2012 All-Star LeBron 9. On his feet during a Lakers game, never intended for shelves. The EYBL pairs. Made for the youth basketball circuit he runs, they almost never reach retail. They stay with circuit players and friends and family, and the public typically learns they exist from a photograph. And the Bronny pairs. His son now has his own player exclusives, including a witness model built with his name on the toe and his own logo on the heel. Nike quietly moved to trademark a Bronny logo before it ever appeared on a shoe. The PE system has outlived a generation and started work on the next one. Even the controversies stay unavailable. When the Honor the King colorway drew criticism, Nike limited the release and it never came out in the United States at all. So run the arithmetic on the LeBron 23. 23 colorways designed to tell you his story, and the shoes attached to the biggest moments of that story, the record night, the All-Star tribute, the father and son era, exist mostly in photographs. If you're buying, understand what the retail LeBron 23 actually is. It's an excellent basketball shoe. Real performance value at retail price and no hype tax because Nike makes plenty. Buy it to hoop in, and you will not be disappointed. Just don't buy it believing it's the pair from the moment printed on the box. That pair has a different plate, or a different upper, or a number stitched on it that only one man was allowed to wear. So count it. 30 colorways in a single season, mostly unavailable, school pairs made for teenagers. 14 years for one high school colorway to reach a store. And a 23rd signature model built to tell 23 stories, whose most important pairs will never be sold. Here's the ending I told you to hold on to. Every signature line sells you proximity to an athlete. That's the whole product. Michael Jordan's line sells a career that finished. Kobe's sells a catalog that outgrew him. Penny's sells a career that got interrupted. LeBron's sells something different and stranger. It sells access. The retail pair is the announcement that a shoe existed. The shoe itself was on his feet, in a locker room, in a size and a build, and a colorway that was never for you. A record, a finals night, a father playing beside his son. That's not a failure of the system. That's the system working exactly as designed. The unavailable pair is what makes the available one worth wanting. LeBron James has been in the league for over 2 decades in one of the most produced signature lines in history, and the truest version of almost every shoe he's ever worn is one you've only ever seen in a photograph. You can buy the LeBron. You cannot buy LeBrons.